Hello, y'all. How are you doing? This is Darryl Berry. I'm back for my Veritas documentary review. And what we'll do is pick it up where we left off last week. First, make sure if you haven't already, like, subscribe, share, join my Discord if you haven't. I'll eventually start having some panels there. I'm looking for any flat earthers who want to actually come and have a discussion or a debate or however you want to do it. You can see the Discord link right there in the links page, link screen. Join my X, join my Patreon, become a member. I'd appreciate it. And what we'll do today, as I said, is go ahead and look again at the Flatline Veritas Flatlined documentary. It was an awesome documentary. I've seen the whole thing. I like it. Going through it again, I see things that I missed or see things I could have used some clarification on or just some things that I enjoyed laughing about again. So it's an awesome documentary. Um, so what we'll do, let me share that. Oh, and be sure, by the way, to check my last video. What I did was is part two of the video I did recently where I was addressing a challenge from a flat earther, and I basically let him know that his challenge wasn't really a challenge, and I challenged him to actually make it a challenge. Gave an example of my own challenge to flat Earth, where I actually make observations and present calculations and evidence of why the flat Earth model doesn't work. So hopefully he can, because we know there's no good examples of that in the flat Earth community. So hopefully he could look at the example of somebody who recognizes the Earth as a globe and what it's like to present evidence and uh, uh, and see how that works. So what I'll do for those who would like, perhaps I'll go ahead and post the link to that in the chat here, and so that you can have that right away, and so you can check that out. And what I'll do is I'll see if he replies. So you can see the reply he made on the first part. I'll check again and see if he replies to that. This is the link to that first video. And we have somebody in the live chat, Real Kindness. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. Always good to have somebody to talk with live. And hopefully we have some flat earthers that join soon to talk. So far I haven't had any biters, but I think flat earthers might be a little less willing to speak to me necessarily because they know I'm not an expert at science, but I'm not like totally ignorant of it. So uh, I do pretty well at showing when the flat earthers like just talking a bunch of nonsense. So I think they might turn some of them away. So sure, eventually somebody will debate me again on like a major channel, but hopefully I can get some people on here as well. So to the topic at hand. So those who have been keeping up, you remember that we were watching DMOC last time. I have to say, I mean, clearly he's obnoxious, right? It's DMOC. But I have to say he kind of grew on me because he's just so outrageous. Let me get a little bit of it. You know what I'm talking about.
You stupid fucking loser, moron, fat boy. Fat boy. Do some forensics with the real ball, fat ass. Do you know what forensics are, bitch? Where you touch the shit?
Oh my
Fat
gosh.
boy. Dog boy.
All right.
Do you get glow pox when you touch what a ball looks like?
All right.
Ball, motherfucker, and show McToon what a ball looks like, you. If you're
Oh my gosh.
it's not for me, and it's for him.
So this is a real person.
Loser with no
This is a
IQ
person.
who's allergic
I've
to
actually
balls.
spoken
Go
to
get
him
a ball
directly.
from the hardware store or a play toy store. Get a beach ball of some sort and show this dumb fat retard loser what a ball looks like. And we can go over a ball versus flat reality.
Well, he seems like
Oh my
a nice
gosh.
guy. Now, for contrast,
And by the way, let me know if there's any issue with my volume at all. So I'll be checking that periodically to see if there's any volume issues, and you can let me know, and I can try to make an adjustment. I think I'm getting a lot better at my volume. I think the first one the volume was a bit off, so I just like remade the video and did a lot of adjustments on the volume. But so far, it seems like the volume levels are matching all right. But just let me know if they're not. I'm not going to adjust my volume or the stream volume or the video volume. So what I'll do is go ahead and start playing some of this, and then I'll do some commentary.
Let's see what a proper demonstration looks like. One that accurately represents the scale, geometry, and perspective dictated by the globe model. One that actually calculates the consequences of what the model predicts, while at the same time comparing those predictions to real-world observations. Allow me to walk you through an incredible visual demonstration made available by Walter Bislin, a Swiss engineer who has put together a website full of insanely helpful calculators and other useful applications that we'll be taking advantage of more than once in this video. Here we're shown the first-person perspective of somebody 6 feet tall standing on the surface of an Earth-sized sphere. We have a fairly narrow field of view here to start, so this is probably a bit closer to what the view would look like through an average camera. Now looking left to right, we really don't see any curve on the horizon, but remember, we're standing on a sphere, so clearly initial looks can be deceiving. Let's compare this to a normal photograph taken at sea level, where the curve is effectively impossible to discern with the naked eye. Now, let's rise up to 500 meters in altitude. There's not much visually different here, even when using a 21mm wide-angle lens, although there is actually a measurable curve here if you were to go and count the pixels. And when we compare the simulation to a real-world photograph under the same conditions, we see the simulation so far is spot on. Now let's compare this to what we'd see if the Earth was actually...
One interesting thing about this topic is, what is his name? Bob the Science Guy? He's a pilot, and he got some of his own direct evidence of the fact that when you're on an airplane and you go up, you can actually see that there's a dip in the horizon. So I always find it quite interesting when a flat earther says stuff like that. Horizon always rises to eye level, and it's like it's common for flat earths where they have these sort of meme-like responses, like I've heard MC Toon call it before, where they just memorize it and rattle it off while claiming we just believe. I'm actually working on this week for my modern physics lab. I'm actually confirming quantization and that quantum physics is a real thing. We have a device where we can send electrons through a cloud of gas, and we can see how the dip in the electrons making it through is consistent with the energy level of the electrons dumping their energy into the atoms at specific quantized level of energy. You know what I mean? That makes a lot of sense right now. But what I'm going to do is I plan on making a presentation on that so you can see how that goes. But I say that to say that the Discord server I used to go to that I don't go to anymore, one of the things I heard people there say that quantum is fake. So horizon always rises to eye level, quantum is fake. All of these things that can be easily not only modeled, but directly experienced. So it's quite interesting.
flat, the horizon would remain at eye level compared to the round Earth model, where the horizon has dipped noticeably. Now, climbing to an altitude
I suppose this is what they did, by the way. I suppose they just, concluded that on the flat Earth, the horizon would rise to eye level and didn't test it. They just said, okay, it always rises to eye level. And that's it. When he's showing that not only simple modeling shows what it's like on the globe, but then what we see in reality
of the typical commercial
matches.
jetliner, we can see an even more drastic dip of the horizon below eye level. And again, we see curve here that's still too slight for us to see with our naked eye, although it is noticeable when lines are drawn and pixels are counted. Now, let's compare what's predicted here with a photo taken with a phone using a theodolite mobile app, which gives us information about where eye level is, our altitude, and more. Now, the predictions for the shape of the horizon and for where eye level is, thus far have been 100% accurate to real-life observations. Now note if we zoom the camera in, reducing our field of view, the curvature almost entirely disappears, which just goes to show you how important knowing information like what lenses are used, what FOV is represented in the image, what our altitude is, and more when analyzing photos for curvature. Now climbing again to 100,000 feet, the height reached by many amateur balloons, and with this field of view, the curve is very small. But if we zoom back out, we can see a much more prominent curve on the horizon. Let's simulate what this altitude would look like through a 38mm focal length lens. Spot on. Let's now compare this view again with what we'd see.
Let's look at this again. That was actually awesome. So he's looking at the view from a high altitude balloon. He's modeling the view from a high altitude balloon, right? He's matching the angle of the model to the angle of the camera on the actual balloon. And now he's overlaying the model and the angle, and we see that it matches perfectly. If you go to my videos, you'll see there's one video where what was his name? I can't remember his name right now. Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. Hold up. Rob Skiba. That's his name. Rob Skiba. He did a video of a high altitude balloon, and he found curvature in his balloon. And I'll never forget, he admitted it. I'm proud of that. He admitted it, and it is right in this video. You know, the curvature that's there from high altitude balloon. And the ironic thing was, a flat earther did a comment on my video, and he said that wasn't Rob Skiba's voice. Like, he literally denied the fact that the voice in the video was Rob Skiba's voice, because it was Rob Skiba saying that the Earth is a globe. So it just, like I said earlier, you know, you show them evidence and they just change something else, or they deny it. And let me check the chat and see if anything came up. And Real Kindness said, yeah, they don't like to hear facts. And D-Mac is something else. Definitely. Uh, uh, oh, and Real Kindness is saying it was D-Mac that told them that. D-Mac is the one that told them, uh, uh, excuse me, Dubé is the one that told them in 215. Do you mean, by the way, about Dubé, do you mean the 200 proofs? Is that what you mean, Real Kindness? I think he's talking about the 200 proofs of flat Earth. That's what it is, where the flat earthers get the idea that horizon always rises to eye level. I don't remember how much of that I saw. I know I saw some of that. The Eric Dubé thing, I don't think I saw it all, but I do know what you're talking about, if it's that. And Recognizant said, of course, WIS has done pics to prove it. If a drone can, as if a drone's cam gimbal is a theodolite. Yeah. Flat earthers always use the wrong devices, like the pictures of stars and planets that they make with like cell phone cameras and stuff. I have to believe that at some level they must know that that makes no sense. At some level, they must know that taking a picture of a planet, you know, in the solar system that's distant away with a cell phone can't be the right way to handle that. You know, it's amazing. Um, I believe at some level they know, they just don't want to admit it, but I could be wrong about that. I mean, it's either denial or stupidity. But I don't see how to really make sense of that. Yeah, and Real Kindness confirmed it was a 200 proofs. He also said, I guess they need to see a full circle, which even a visit to ISS wouldn't help. You need to be uh, on par with the radius distance. Yeah, yeah. Ironically, the camera takes pictures of the full globe, but of course they just deny that the pictures are real. So I kid you not, real Cagnus. On one of my videos, like in my first era of streaming a year or two ago, whenever it was, I joked, I joked on a panel or in a video, I joked that if you took one of these flat earthers out into space on a rocket, they would just say that the cameras, that the windows of the rocket ship are fake and they're cameras and they're really in the studio. I kid you not. I saw a debate where a flat earther actually said that. The flat earther, somebody asked him, well, what would it take for you to really believe it, to accept it? And he said, well, I suppose if they actually took me into outer space, but then I can't really trust that because they could trick me and put me in a sound stage and the windows could really be televisions and, you know, some of them I don't think anything will show it. But I mean, what can you do, right? It's still fun looking at the dirt. I kid you not, man. I need to find that video. I think I know who it might be, but I'm not sure. I don't want to like name the wrong one. Uh, I was just so shocked. I was so shocked when I saw that video. I couldn't believe it. But he said it, man. Um, uh, it's wild, man. Let's see a little bit more of it. But again, I think this video here. I think this is awesome. Rob Skiba would be proud. He didn't do an overlay, but he did get the image of it. And by the way, for the flat earthers out there, what's going on here is the same thing I saw MC Toon do. Like he utilized a device on his cell phone that kept level and he pointed it out the window and he was able to show like a line shows eye level. So basically you could just, basically make a plumb and horizontal to that is an absolute horizontal eye level. And then if the horizon is below that, then you know that the horizon didn't stay at eye level. MC Toon made an observation where not only did the horizon drop below the direct horizontal, but the moon was below the direct horizontal because the moon was close to setting. So, when you look at this model, it's not like pure flat earthers. I mean, I've seen them say, "Oh, it's just something they put in the computer." No, what this is doing is demonstrating what you can do yourself by just getting some device that keeps an eye level. You could find an app on your phone because anybody with a cell phone knows you can turn your cell phone and the screen can change, and you turn it back and the screen changes back. So there's a device in the cell phone that knows when it's tilted. So you can get a device specifically designed to capture the tilt in such a way where it's keeping horizontal eye level, and you can see for yourself that the horizon does in fact fall below as we increase in elevation. So
Once again, even from this altitude, zooming in has the ability to effectively eliminate the visible curve from the image.
there's some high
Now, let's
level
compare what
programming.
our simulation predicts the view should be from the International Space Station. Now, how
Let's
about
see
that
this again.
Tesla that
I mean, this is an awesome model. I mean, I'm sure I saw this the first time, but I don't think I really appreciated how awesome this is and the work that went into this. So that's the actual view of the planet from the ISS with the curve that the astronauts see. And this is the model of the actual curve of the globe overlaid upon that. And we can see how the model perfectly matches. This is another thing that flat earthers do. They just try to downplay models, saying, oh, that's just a model. And it's just, but models are valid only to the extent that they represent reality. You know, they're a way for us to extract usually a certain portion of the natural world. In this case, just the amount of curve at a distance. We could extract that variable from the total natural world and model that variable. And we know the model is valid because we can predict things about the natural world by making changes to the model. So he made a model or got a model, made predictions of the natural world with the model, and now he's making real world observations to see if it matches the model. And because it matches, it confirms that the model is correct. That's why models are so important in science. So if you're a flat earther and you're falling for the idea that, oh, it's just a model, you've been duped. You've been duped. Somebody who is either doesn't know what they're talking about or who's lying to you to tag you along has convinced you to discount models when this is showing the validity of models. Flat Earth believe they do real science, but they don't do science at all. They just do nonsense. This is an example of science and how science matches reality, which is the basis of its validity. Exactly. And real cognition is saying it's the same thing as the math isn't real. I kid you not. I'm pretty sure this was Flat Earth Jesus. I'm certain enough to say that it was him. I saw him in the debate, and him and the other guy, again, this is one of my jaw drop moments. They were saying that math wasn't real, and they were saying this is the example they gave real kindness. They said, okay, if you have, they say math is real, but if you have one pile of sugar and you have another pile of sugar, and you put those two together, it ends up again as one pile of sugar. So that's how you know. And I think they use sand, whatever they use, it was a pile of grainy something, whether it's sand or sugar, whatever. But like if you have one pile of it over here and you have another pile, you put them together, it makes one pile. You don't put them together and it makes two piles. So math is fake. This was the actual argument. So, and I'm thinking, just in the moment, I'm thinking, okay, you can go to the store and buy like sugar by the pound. I mean, even grainy things that you can put together and they become 1 pound of stuff. You can have 1 pound of it, 2 pound of it. Or what about that paper you have that has 100 on it? Those numbers are not real. Let me go ahead and give you this one that has a 1 on it. Let's make that trace since it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure even the dumbest flat earther wouldn't want to do that. If you just find the dumbest flat earther, I'm pretty sure they still at least understand like $100 bill versus a $1 bill. But oh my gosh, just find that debate on modern day debate. I need to do more flat earth debate reviews because this is some hilarious stuff. I gotta find those debates. Maybe I may have to make a video of like the most crazy flat earth things the most crazy things flat earthers have said or something. But those are two that come to mind just looking at this video here. Let's keep it going.
SpaceX sent up to space a few years ago. We have a few images from varying orbital distances from Earth. The first is from 4,000 kilometers.
Matches the model again.
Now, how about the second, at around 7,000 kilometers?
This is some legit work right here, you all. He went
This
through some work
simulation
here.
appears to be an extremely accurate and reliable model of our Earth, corresponding perfectly to every observation that I've put up against it. I personally took 3 images from 3 different videos where the relevant camera, lens, and altitude information was provided so that I could put all of that information into Walter Bisland's application and verify myself. The first 2 videos were from a flat earther named Dwayne Kellum, with the first titled High Altitude Balloon 24, I See Stars, at an altitude of 121,000 feet with a Sony A7S camera and a Sony FE 50mm f1.8 lens. The second was titled High Altitude Balloon 15 infrared camera, where he filmed from 113,000 feet using a GoPro Hero Black with a custom 4.35mm low distortion lens, described as having, quote, special optics that make this lens rectilinear, so there's no fisheye distortion at all. And the final video was from an amateur rocket enthusiast named Kip Daugertis, entitled 56 Miles Above Earth, Successful Amateur Rocket Launch, where he filmed his rocket hitting over 293,000 feet using a similar aftermarket GoPro lens without the fisheye effect. Let's see how the calculator compares to all of these observations.
Now, I must say, I do respect the flat earthers that actually sent cameras up to take pictures. Respect on that. The ones who actually did that, like Rob Skiba, who's no longer with us. May he rest in peace. I understand he died from COVID, if I remember right. Notice also that that one had the flat line that showed the curvature. I believe wasn't this one of them from one of the flat earthers?
Now, I gotta say, that's pretty goddamn impressive.
Agree. I think that's pretty impressive.
I spent 15 years of my career trying to
Commercial.
create the digital notebook. Remarkable, solved it. I'm the former CTO.
Now, closely related to this is another flat earther talking point, questioning the legitimacy of various images of Earth from space because of the different.
By the way, this is something I forgot to mention in my last video when I was addressing New Perspective, because he sort of discounted the notion uh, of seeing, of discounting things that Shane says because of the duplicity he had in that video. But this is another example of how, like, anybody who's been looking at the topic for a while, I'm sure you ran into the uh, flat earth talking point where they say, they quote this NASA guy or somebody saying, "Oh, it's photoshopped. It has to be," you know, and it totally miscrew this to mean that all the pictures are like just Photoshop. When my understanding is, it's been a while since I saw it, but my understanding is what he was talking about was the fact that there's some satellites that are very, very close to the Earth. They can't take like one picture of the whole Earth. So they take a picture of this strip and they take a picture of this strip. And so they have strip after strip after strip. And then they go ahead and put the strips together, like with some kind of, image, manipulation software like Photoshop or whatever. Yet, flat earthers will take that one line and say, "Oh, look, are they all fake? And you said it's fake and NASA lies. And look at this one little image and it doesn't perfectly match that image." And just count everything that NASA says. Even though time and time again, I've seen people do things like this where they point out that the, distance to the Earth or the focus of the lens and so on and so forth accounts for that. So why in the world would we not go ahead and not only just discount what Shane says, but discount what any flat earther says? Because just like how they say, well, the government lies, so NASA's a part of the government, so we could discount them. But what about SpaceX? Well, they got money from the government and they work with the government, so you discount them. They didn't discount anybody who has anything to do with the government at all because the government lied about something. Okay, well, we have documentation that flat earthers lie. So that means we could discount anything any flat earther says ever. Matter of fact, we have documentation that globe deniers lie. So we could discount anything any globe denier says, right? But ironically, in that chat, I'm pretty sure, hopefully I showed it last time, he was trying to do neons. Well, so neons are not nuance now. Okay, it wasn't necessarily dishonest. It was just at worst misjudgment or whatever. Okay, so now we can do nuance when it comes to a flat earth person, you know. We're not going to do nuance about the fact that, okay, the government lied about whatever they lied about. But that doesn't mean that the NASA scientist is not actually doing his science that you can verify yourself, right? So again, the same double standard with flat earthers. And Rakagna says, yeah, exactly. It's stitched, so that means it's fake, right? I mean, according to their standards, this whole stream right here is fake because you're looking at it through a digital camera, right? And then there's some blurriness. Oh my gosh, blurriness. Like they do with the NASA streams. They're like, oh my gosh, that pixel. You saw that pixel? There was a pixel out of place right there from a stream from out of place. Yeah, it's not absolutely 100% perfect. It's one little glitch, so it's all fake, right? And he says even Himurabi's ultra-high resolution multi-spectrum images every few minutes for decades mean nothing. Exactly. And those are some beautiful images. I mean, if you look at actually the background of this one, I don't remember where I got it from. Like the background of my actual stream, I don't remember where I got that from. I don't think that's a Himurabi image. But if you look at the one that's on my links, that's a beautiful image right there. And that one is from the Himurari. That is a beautiful image. So, yeah, take some awesome images. But of course, the flat earthers, again, it just means nothing. Those beautiful images. I remember I did what do you call it? A short. I guess it would be considered a short. Yeah, I need to upload it as a short. But I sort of did a timeline of like NASA or SpaceX, building a rocket and building the boosters and like this fast time thing. I'm gonna make it a short so it'll be posted again and y'all can see it. They rolling the rockets out and they're doing all this construction. They're building the towers like this speed run through of them launching the rocket. The rocket goes in space and they're seeing the Earth. And then I like you know pantomime the flat Earth is saying, "Oh, it's just like in the sound stage, it's craziness." Hey, what's going on, Blue? Well, I'm not real. That's right. That's right. I'm not real because look at the blurriness. I don't really exist. And if I did exist, NASA would be paying me anyway. So there you go. So either I don't exist or if I did exist, I'm just doing what NASA tells me. I'm sorry, NASA. I didn't mean to out you. Just keep sending my you know, $1 million checks every day or whatever. It's so awesome. But I see what he's talking about with these NASA images here.
Differences in the relative sizes of continents.
When NASA's images of the ball Earth are compared with one another, the coloration of the land and oceans and relative size of the continents are consistently so drastically different from one another as to prove beyond any reasonable doubt that the pictures are all fake.
You know all these pictures that NASA have put out over the timeline of the Earth from space, where you see the actual globe, yeah? Uh-huh. How do you explain the fact that in some of it, the land masses look absolutely totally out of perspective to each other, and sometimes they don't seem to be the same? The land masses I'm talking about, not the actual shape of it.
Here's two pictures they tell us are from space of the Earth. I want y'all.
They don't seem.
Well, guys, I mean, it's pretty much the words of flat earthers when they have proof and stuff, right? I mean, it's pretty much what you're hearing. I'm pretty sure I phrased it with that term in the video I made earlier.
The land masses I'm talking about. Not
is that from a flat earther? Who is this from? I mean, I mean, we can't tell if it's a flat earther making this to try to say this is from the globe, or someone who recognizes the Earth as a globe saying it's flat earthers talking. But I mean, that's very representative of the points of flat earthers. I mean, I don't know how I missed that the first time around.
Here's two pictures they tell us are from space of the Earth. I want y'all to look at North America. Which one is correct? Because the one there, the big one, seems like North America is taking up a big section of the ball there, much bigger than it really is. So we get these kind of things and they want us to trust them, but it's just impossible.
What do you think it's showing there?
Do you see Africa is taking up that much space on the ball?
Yep. And how far away was that picture taken?
Are you talking about like the if it's close?
So I think you're showing the 1972 blue marble, right?
Most likely, maybe.
Most likely. You don't know which meme you're showing?
Dude, I just collect stuff
meme
that
congestion.
looks weird.
So many
That's
memes,
all
meme
I'm doing.
congestion.
I'm like a detective. You know what I mean? I'm not like you, a scientist.
I believe you.
This
He
is a
admitted it.
clear-cut
Oh my
example.
gosh, that's rare. I think
That
usually they think they're like smarter than Einstein and stuff.
looks weird. That's all I'm doing. I'm like a detective. You know what I mean? I'm not like you, a scientist.
Wow.
I believe
And
you.
he said, I'm not like you, a scientist. He called MC Toon a scientist. Okay, well, that's unexpected. He should be more humble about what he's saying and maybe like be interested in learning what the scientist has to say about science. I mean, that would be a novel approach.
This is a clear-cut example of their inability or unwillingness to take even the most basic steps to understand something most fifth graders are able to grasp: perspective. And even if this concept...
I want to say something on behalf of the flat earthers for a moment. If someone is very ignorant and unaware of scientific investigation, I mean, I could see how this stuff can fool people because, we know that the flat earthers have a very, very surface level investigation. I never forget when I was the guy who I know who showed me that people really believe this because I knew him personally, and I knew he wasn't just like doing satire or something. He used to always talk about all the research he was doing. This research. I mean, I'm doing a lot of this research. You can't refute this research, man. This research. And it got to the point where he kept saying about this research so much that I started to press him on what is this research? What is it? And we all know what the research is. He was looking at flat earth memes and flat earth videos. And that's research to him. Right? That's research. It's like, the stuff that he was saying, he was just repeating the stuff he saw in the video, just like the horizon always rises to eye level. Did he actually get on the plane with a device that makes it horizontal and observe and confirm that the horizon rises to eye level? Like how I did a angle measurement of the sun and distance calculations and trigonometry and saw that it outputs the circumference of the globe, but on the flat Earth, the sun would never set. I did that personally. Flat Earthers don't do that. So they've trained themselves. They have a very surface level investigation of things. So from the flat Earth level of investigation, I'm looking at a picture of the globe. There's two pictures of the globe. They don't match, so they must be fake. From the flat Earth level of investigation, I can see how that could work. I can see how that could make sense to them, right? Okay, I have 6 pictures of the globe. They all supposed to be pictures of the globe, and they're different, so they must be fake. To the flat Earth level of investigation, that makes sense. So what that means, flat earthers, if this makes sense to you, that what that means is you need to increase or improve your level of investigation. So your level of investigation is insufficient to the task of determining the nature of the earth. Just like how he showed earlier with his models of the earth as a globe compared to what it looks like in reality. He actually made a model and did real world observations. What flat earthers do is I know they claim they don't have a model, but all these flat earth videos describe how the earth is or should be. They just look at the video, which is some kind of model, some kind of description of the world, and they just stop there. So for those who are willing to hear, I just want to throw that out there. Let's play a little bit more. And I'll go, I guess, I'll go for about 10 more minutes here.
Concept isn't something immediately intuitive to most people, it's trivial to demonstrate, and any intellectually honest person would have a really hard time disagreeing. Now, for starters, what they're describing is
Let me ask y'all something, by the way. Let me play this one little thing one more time.
Immediately intuitive to most people, it's trivial to demonstrate, and any intellectually honest person would have a really hard time.
Intellectually honest. I wonder how valid that statement is. I mean, I understand what they mean by it, but can it just be called just being honest? What do y'all think? And and I remember Real Kindness Austin said how smart he is. I remember clips. I believe MC Toon made these clips, or maybe it was even in this documentary too. Yeah, it was in this documentary. I'm sure we'll get to it then. But he's on the street and everywhere talking to people about how he's 160 IQ. And Blue says the IQ machine was out of calibration. Blue says the IQ machine was out of calibration the day they tested Austin with it. Yeah. If we call the IQ machine his massive ego, maybe that. Yeah, definitely was. I remember he said recorders have been said about how whiz he is at math. Oh my gosh, I was so anxious to debate him so I could. Oh my gosh, I was just so ready, especially about gravity. As y'all know, those who saw my debate uh, when I was partnering with Tony, I know something about something, and I let people who knew it do. But I can't say, of course, I'm an expert on gravity, but definitely know enough to turn him upside down on gravity. I was so looking forward to that, but you know, I'm starting to even lose my enthusiasm of debating him because like he debated Professor Dave what a few days ago or whatever, and I've already seen Fight the Flat Earth's review of it, and I'm going through MC Toon's review of it. I mean, so many people have thrown him upside down already, but I don't think I've been. I think I have a unique way of addressing him, so I think that's what'll make my debate with him and the other ones unique. Of course, you still have to get through him just word saddling and making up stuff. Uh, you know, but I definitely think that I'll be able to contribute something to the perspective of debunking flat earthers, but with a conversation on gravity with him and putting his feet to the fire on that. So I don't know, we'll see. But I'm starting to even lose my interest after I saw that little thing he said where he said he could put me in his place, but ironically, when he had the chance to, he was nowhere to be found. The email said he withdrew, but he said, I can't trust what he says. But he said he never accepted it. But suffice it to say, that slot was there, and we could have had the debate, and he could have put me in his place like he claimed he can do. But I'm starting to even lose interest in debating him now. And yeah, the Eurocognitive says, yeah, electrostatics, bro. I think the best interview to see his claims about that, because if you look at it, even though he claims trucking and driving is dishonesty or whatever, you can see how he's sort of, as things get debunked, he's altered a bit. And that debate that he did on what was the name of that thing? The Lodge, something Lodge, the one that he did, and he gave all these like thunderstorm and electrostatics and the downward current and density. He named all of these things. Why don't we let him demonstrate calculating the fall, how fast something will fall? DFC actually did this. He just didn't stay on him about it, about, calculate this rock falling. How long would it take to fall? Why has he never actually presented an equation and any predictions like he was able to see with modeling that we can do how this works? But I'm pretty sure, like right now, I'm starting to lose my enthusiasm because we had the chance and he didn't want to take it. I doubt he's ever going to take it, but maybe if the opportunity comes up again, I'll take it. But maybe I'll get excited again if it does. But yeah, low lies. That's right, real cogniz. Mass by velocity, direction. I mean, the stuff in that thing was just gold, But I don't think people put his feet to the fire enough on gravity. So let's see what we have for our last little bit.
Now, for starters, what they're describing is a well-known principle in geometry. The visible surface area of a sphere is a function of your distance from it and its radius. Put simply, the closer you are to a sphere, the less of it you see, and vice versa.
I'll never forget, which debate was that? There was a debate, I think it was with Fight the Flat Earth, and he had like a orange or golden type globe, and he literally had pictures he took himself. One picture from far away from his globe and one picture from close to the globe, and you could see it was the same globe. I believe the Flat Earther said, no, it was two different globes or something. I don't know. It's amazing the stuff they can deny, but this is some good stuff.
With the visible area increasing to 50% as your distance approaches infinity. Now, this can be easily demonstrated in multiple ways, such as with the use of modeling or simulation tools.
I think that's an awesome image, by the way.
In this case, I use some software called Space Engine. Removing the atmosphere and clouds makes this demonstration a bit more clear. First, let's start off relatively close to the Earth and take a snapshot. Then let's move back some distance so that the Earth is smaller in frame and take another. When zoomed and cropped so that the angular size of Earth is equal in both images, which is always how these photos are presented when flat earthers make this argument, we can fade back and forth between each and can clearly see that less of the Earth's surface is visible when we're closer to the planet. The farther away we get, the more of the surface of the sphere we can see. Now, for those extra skeptical folks that might think this...
By the way, this just reminds me of something. I made a video. If you check my channel, I believe there's a way to put videos up in the stream later. I'm gonna check. I need to start check that and see if I could just like, like make the video just pop up on the screen right there. But if you check my channel, you'll see that I made a video called like Rob Skiba's Proofs for the Flat Earth. Amazingly, and again, I respect the fact that he did it. What Rob Skiba did was he actually got like this giant beach ball or something, and he got this tennis ball or whatever it was, and he got another ball to represent the Earth. He's like one of them represented the Earth, one of them represented the moon, and what he did was like there was a picture of the satellite that orbits the moon, I believe, that took a picture of the moon in front of the Earth. And he said that, obviously it was fake because it was, all out of proportion. It wouldn't look like that. He just like made a big deal out of it. And what he did was he went and got some spheres and did a to scale representation. And he did it well. I mean, when you look at the video, the representation, it matches what the picture saw. And he admitted it. He acknowledged it. He published it. This is what I did. And when you actually put everything in proportion, like he literally was in a long hallway so that the moon was far enough away from the Earth representation to matter. And then he had the camera back where the satellite would be. And it matched perfectly, just like how the model we saw with the horizon curve and the Earth curve. It was actually a pretty good demonstration. I believe if Rob Skiba would have lived, I believe he would have ended up being uh, recognizing that the Earth is a globe. He's one of the like Ranty. Ranty knew that he lived close to that mountain. He saw that picture of the mountain with the mountain lower than the tower or whatever it was, and he went there and he did his investigation. And I saw a few. He did like 2 debates or something. And he was actually pretty good because he knew all of their lies. He knew all of their shucking and driving. And so I think Rob Skiba would have eventually woken out of it because he was doing some real stuff and he was doing it well. I think he's like I believe it was Bob Nodell who had um the gyro. There's a few of them that does stuff well. Most of them, they're taking pictures of Jupiter with a cell phone and taking pictures of stars with a cell phone. Most of them is just like horrible. But there are a few, and of course we know every time they do something accurately, it proves the globe. And Rokainis says, yeah, pretty sure you can add links. Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen it in videos. I know some vids have it. Just as a live stream, you might have to download it and edit it. Yeah, and re-upload. That'd be bad because I like having one of the things I like about watching a live video is being able to see the live chat. So if I have to re-upload it, I probably would just leave it as is. But what I can do though, I'll put it in the description. So the videos I mentioned, I'll put it in the description of the video, and that way it'll be there. So check the description for the video for the Rob Skiba Proofs of Flat Earth, for the short I'm going to make. Well, I've already made this short, but I have to make it into a short, and I'll re-upload it as a short of my little jab at the flat earthers of how they misconstrue things and say it's fake. And yeah, so we went through. I think we got through about what I normally get through. We had 38 minutes, so I get through about 12 minutes each time. So technically, we got a little bit farther than I got last time. So I'll go ahead and pause it here and come back. So thank you, Blue. Thank you, for Real Cognizant, for showing up. It's always great having some people to interact with, and hopefully my anecdotes are really helpful or entertaining or whatever the case may be. I see that there's more people viewing than chatting, so if you're a flat earther, hopefully it helped you. Hopefully, if you want to chat, you want to talk about it, let me know. I can have you on. sometimes I make a video during the week, but definitely I'll be back next Saturday. But I'll make something before then. You can hop on next Saturday and we can talk. Or if you just want to be anonymous, you can send me your whatever you want to say. Like I'm responding to real perspective with his actual DMs because he said, it's fine just showing the DMs here rather than actually come on himself. But if you want to keep your whatever you say anonymous, that's fine as well. I could just say such and such Flattered A, said this, and I could reply to what you say. But if you all blue or real cognizant, know somebody who wants to come on, send them to me, and we can have somebody on, and we can chat. And look, Bruce says Ranty was looking for an excuse to leave Flat Earth. Bjorn is doing the same thing with his Antarctic trip. Interesting. So Blue says that Ranty was looking for an excuse, and Jurin is doing the same thing. Why do you think Ranty was looking for an excuse, Blue? You're welcome, Logan. Thank you for joining. And thanks for making a chat. So I'm glad I can help liven up the weekend. And yeah, and Blue was saying Ranty was looking for an escape. You know, I remember seeing Jurin debate. Who was it? Farin. If I'm saying his name properly. And Jaron made a claim that the airplanes don't fly from one airport to another airport. He just made the claim right there. And 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 Aaron, magnificent as he is, right then he pulled up the website because of course, like Witsit, he claims there's a this, and he never pulls it up. And we know from, like for instance, DFE and others, they never send the link that they claim they're going to send, or they send it in some chat GPT made up thing or whatever. So Aaron pulled it up right then and pulled up the flight and showed that it was there. And on the spot, Jaron changed his story and said something else. Just like when I was debating Wotan, and he did the same thing. I proved him wrong about, what was it? The size of the shadow, and it was dealing with the solar eclipse. And I proved him wrong, and right on the spot, he changed what he said, even though it was recorded. It's amazing. So it's clear he knows that he's wrong about stuff he's saying. So maybe he is going to wake up. The real Cognitive says, pull it up. Targeting Ross. I had to talk with him as well. I could have talked with him again, but I mean, there's a certain level of denial. Even I'm, you know, like, dude. But awesome, guys. Thanks for joining. Good chatting with y'all. I'll see y'all next week if I don't see you before then, but definitely I'll still see you next Saturday, either with, well, I'm sure I'll do another bit of this documentary, but I may do something else. And yeah, Ross he seems sincere, but man, the talk I had with him is on the channel. It's something good to check out. I mean, dude, awesome, guys. I'll see you all next week. I'll show my links. I'll give my outro music. And thanks again for joining.